The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. And in my previous videos, I've discussed whether something is even a search. And if we deem something a search, then the officer needs to obtain a search warrant prior to searching that individual or place. Now, today we're going to be moving on to exception to the search warrant requirements under the Fourth Amendment. And this first exception is search incident to arrest. We have a situation here where the officer obtained a warrant to arrest someone. And the question is, does that permit him to search? The facts of the Supreme Court case are rather interesting. Mr. Chimel is suspected of burglarizing a coin shop. Police officers obtain a valid arrest warrant. They go to his house, they wait for him about 15 minutes, and when he arrives, they proceed to arrest him. Before putting handcuffs on him, they ask Mr. Chimel if it's okay for them to search the house. He objects. Now they then arrest him, and several officers proceed to make a general search of the home. They walk through all the rooms, they open drawers, they even move things around in those drawers. Mr. Chimel says that that search of the home was not a legal search because it was not made pursuant to a search warrant. All that the officers had were an arrest warrant. And this is how the court heard the issue presented to them in this case.
Well, the legality of the search, as I understand your case, depends upon two issues. First of all, the search, I suppose, you would argue, was obviously invalid if the underlying arrest was invalid.
That's correct.
Because the only justification for the search is that it was incident to a lawful arrest. Therefore, if the arrest was not lawful, the search could not be lawful, regardless of its scope. And your second point is, even if the arrest was a lawful arrest, this search, which is justified only as an incident to a lawful arrest, was far too wide in scope to be incident to a lawful arrest. Is that your submission?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Here's what the Supreme Court tells us. Certainly when the person is being arrested, it is necessary for the police officer to search that individual for weapons or for any contraband. After all, he's taking that individual into custody. Now the question is, how far beyond his body can the police officer search? Does he go throughout the whole house, only that room, and so on? The question is, where do you draw that ceiling and where do you draw the floor? First, we have to think. If the police officer has probable cause to believe that you've committed a crime, does that necessarily mean that there's probable cause that there's going to be items found in the home? And the answer is no. Can you think of at least one situation where that wouldn't be true? Of course you can. For example, you're being arrested at your friend's house. Is there probable cause that you've committed a crime? Yes, we have that in this case. Is there a valid arrest warrant? Yes, that's exactly what's happening in this situation. But if Mr. Chimel was going to be arrested at his friend's home, there is no probable cause to believe that items will be found at that friend's home. Additionally, when we're looking at orders and warrants for searches, those warrants have to explicitly say with particularity the items that will be found and the places that need to be searched. And of course, when the police officer is asking only for the arrest, he's not listing any items in that search warrant, because after all, it is only an arrest warrant. The Supreme Court concludes that when a person is being arrested pursuant to a valid arrest warrant, that individual can be searched by the police, and the officers can search places that are in the immediate control of that individual. After all, we're concerned with officer safety, so that individual might lunge and try to get a firearm or another weapon, so he can search places around him. But anything beyond that, if we're going through the whole house, if we're making general searches, the officers always have to get a search warrant for that home before they make the search. And of course, this limitation on the search incident to arrest exception makes sense. Because think about it. If we allowed police officers only to search the body if they arrested somebody on the street, but if they followed that individual home, then they're permitted to search the whole house, well, that would not make any sense. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so next time I post, you'll be first to know.